Madam Mayor, I think we're all here.
All right, good morning. Thank you all for joining us for our regular council meeting. Let's start it off this morning. Bill, would you offer our invocation?
Yes, ma'am. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day and our beautiful community. Thank you so much for all of our citizens, all of our council members, all of our public works department, our police department, all our city employees. You do a fine job maintaining this pleasant community. We are so grateful for everything you've done. We offer up a special prayer for those Midwest victims of this tornadoes. Be there, comfort them, bring them out of this disaster. You know, they've been terrible there, terrible to lose their friends and family. Keep them in our thoughts and prayers. We also, in Jesus' name, ask that you give this council wisdom, patience, kindness, and the ability to really listen, so that we make good decisions and continue to move forward. We ask all of this in the glorious name of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Bill. I was going to say something about the tornado victims also, so thank you.
Photo down there, I don't know why his photo's showing.
All right. Let us go now to the approval of our minutes. I hope you all had a chance to review the minutes from November the 6th and November the 16th. Do I have a motion to approve them as written?
Yes, I move that we approve them. I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those who will approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now let's go to the adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second?
Jim, second.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I interrupt you all. I'm sorry. It's hard to hear. All in favor of adopting the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Jason, if you will present your city manager's report, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, everybody. I want to begin by saying that I've been working on several end-of-year compliance forms and documents, things such as the ARPA funds, Georgia DCA, and even the LMIG grant. The next year, we're wrapping these up. They should be done very soon. Kind of touched on this in the work session, but we've submitted requested information to the state, so our police department personnel can receive a one-time payment of $1,000 for working through the pandemic. It's still under review. We're hoping to have this to them very soon. I'm not sure what the delay is. Jerry Shope and I, Jerry Public Works Director, are planning on having a meeting with Precision Paving before the end of the year. This is to discuss our road projects for next year, to reevaluate and make sure that we're prioritizing roads that need to be addressed. I will mention that I did get a quote from Precision Paving for the LMIG grant. I was waiting on that, so I'm thankful to get that in, so we can get that finalized and processed. I just want to make a side note. If we do not hear from our chosen contractor for the Sky Valley Way culvert replacement, probably by early next year, maybe looking to try to find another qualified contractor. As you all know, this has been approved in budgeting. My last conversation I had with him, like everybody else, I've been plagued by staffing shortages, supply chain issues, and even COVID. But I do know this is a project we all want to see get done, and but that's the reason for the delay. We're moving forward. Moving forward on the Southern Road project, another thing, we have one property owner that's holding out. I've had several conversations with them. They say they will sign the clearing easement to give the city the ability to maintain the road. They've yet to do so, but we're still working with them on doing that. I've reached out to another appraisal company to try to get the identified lots appraised that we're looking to sell for next year. One went out of business, another one, all they do is refis, and they're not doing this, but we found another one. Hopefully we'll have that done so we can get those lots sold. City Hall will be closed Friday, December 24th and Monday, December 27th for the Christmas holiday. Trash service will commence on Tuesday, December 28th, same time. Additionally, City Hall will be closed on Friday, December 31st for the New Year holiday. Our staff council Christmas lunch will be this Friday, the 17th. I have most of all of your menu requests. I've submitted this to Chris with the club. If you have not provided your menu selection, if you're on the council and would like to attend, or staff, I need that by today so I can get that to them. Speaking of the 17th, the website subcommittee is meeting this Friday with Lawson Media Group, which is the company that's updating the city website as well as creating the marketing website. They've done a great job. We're going to revisit with them to just kind of get some progress and give them more direction moving forward. But those should both be online. Well, the updated version online, the new site online, very early next year. Just want to remind that the Serve-Line program is slated to begin on January 1st. That's still on track to happen. I'm proud to report that we are back to full staff of Public Works. I know Jerry Show is going to introduce our 2 new employees during his report. I have reached out to Talbot Tennis. That's the company who installed the pickleball courts. I'm awaiting their quote for the construction of the 3rd pickleball court. That was something that was budgeted for next year. So I just want to share that anybody that is wondering what the status of that is, we're on track with that. And then just on a side note, I spoke with our vendor for our fireworks. I think the Special Projects Committee has looked at Saturday, July 2nd as the identified date. The company that we use, they also shoot for the Dillard House, and the Dillard House has committed to Monday, July 4th. And according to the owner of the company, Munderland, they really need to shoot either the day before or the day after. So just something to think about for next year. Fortunately, we have a little bit of time, but we may be looking at either having to do that shoot on Sunday, July 3rd, or Tuesday, July 5th, or even maybe looking at another vendor. But just wanted to share that out there. And unless anybody has any questions, that concludes my report.
We have a signed contract with that fireworks vendor, don't we, Jason?
We do. I do not know if it's in the contract itself. I'd have to go back and revisit it, but I do know that when we were negotiating the price, one of the things about that cost was they would need to shoot the day before or day after because they're having to pay their pyrotechnic people. They have to put them in a hotel, et cetera, et cetera. So that's another night. That'd be another night. They have to stay in a hotel, another per diems, et cetera, et cetera. They have to, there's a day in between. So, again, not trying to muddy the waters, but just something to think about and just kind of get on the radar for next year.
I think, Bruce, maybe we need to call the special project committee members and have a discussion, because I know shooting fireworks off also affects the Sid Weber barbecue and so forth.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Were you finished, Jason?
I am, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I have a couple of comments, questions.
Go for it, Ed.
I'm just curious how we're doing as far as getting the minutes up on the website. That's a major issue in our last meeting.
What we're not completely up to date. I have more minutes up and, certainly relevant information as far as, agendas for current meetings. They're always up. And again, we're actually looking forward to trying to get that budgeted part-time person that can devote to that. Because it is a constant thing to make sure it's done timely. But to the best we can, we are. It's not completely done, but there are fresh minutes. We'll get these up to get through today. But we are working to do that.
I would like to see our minutes and our agendas posted retroactively, and we will talk to the website people on Friday about this.
But to put things into perspective, today's meeting work agendas, notifications have been up for at least a week. So.
On another subject, you mentioned the working on the paving, the precision paving. One of the things we talked about is Alex Mountain, maybe building some pull-offs up there. So I'd like to suggest that we build that into our plans.
Jerry and I, not to get into Jerry's discussion, but before he comes up, we've actually been down Alex Mountain a couple of times and we've identified a couple of potential spots. We might put those pull outs at, so.
I didn't completely understand where we are with the culvert thing, because I thought a month or so ago that we had indication that the pipes we were waiting on were in.
That was my indication as well. That information was provided to me by one of his employees. But when I went back and spoke with the company owner, he said no, that the piping was not in, that his employee misspoke. However, we have a source of piping from another vendor that I have relayed that information to this contractor. He has not got back with me on that, but I do know that he's had some staffing turnover. I think to even include this employee that.
Well, the only point I'm making is we keep kicking the can down the road. This vendor is not producing. Let's be proactive and find some other contractors out there.
That's what we're looking to do. I mean, I've pretty much exhausted all. I was going to give you the rest of this year, but yeah, come January,
No,
we're moving on. Yeah.
no, let's move on right now. Wait.
Any other comments or questions from the council? All right, if we can have our department reports from Jerry, that would be great. And before you start, Jerry, I want to say your department did a fabulous job of doing away with our hay bales and fall decorations and putting up the Christmas decorations. They look great. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say I'm thankful that I'm actually back up in full staff, and I'd like to introduce, this is Kenneth Queen. He will be with us now. He was formerly employed with the county. He wanted to better himself, and the city actually offered what would be to better himself, and he come on up here, and so far he's been a good asset, and I think he'll be a plus for the city. Thank you.
Welcome, Kenneth.
Thank you. Yeah, Kenneth, what?
Queen. This is Mr. Larry Randolph. He's the newest one on the board, so he got to do some of the hemlock treatment and all that on the trees last week, but he lives here in the city at Sugar Bush. He's a machinist from Fort Worth. Correct. Out of Fort Worth, Texas. So if you have any questions on that, you'll have to ask him, because I don't know nothing about Texas. But he's going to be a good hand as well. And right now, just having back full staff, I've seen some things changing and progress moving a little faster and that kind of stuff. So I think we'll move forward from there.
Welcome, Kenneth.
Larry Randolph.
Thank you.
Oh, and welcome, Larry.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
And we have, I can't say thank you enough for participants in the hay bales and getting their decorations up, and that helped us get our part up quicker. And as soon as we got that taken care of, we went straight into Christmas lights and got those up. That's timely, and but we got it done. And we also have got the chat spreaders for whenever we have bad weather. During the rain last week and stuff, we got those out. Went through them, got them ready, got the snow plows on. Everything's up and working, so I'm hoping not to be in for a surprise right now. Everything's working on that, and the leaf vac will be out. If not this evening, it will be out tomorrow. And tree trimming, as soon as I get everybody involved in the leaf vacing and learning some of that, we're gonna go straight into some of the tree trimming, the canopy trimming, and that kind of stuff, and start getting a lot of that took care of. And I've got a lot of work orders still, but now that I'm full staff, I can work a lot of that stuff in and get it taken care of.
Thank you, Jerry. Any comments or questions from the council for Jerry?
Good job.
You're here. Yep. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda are the committee reports. And Bill, would you do a quick report on the last mayoral advisory committee?
Yes, ma'am. Last week we had a mayoral advisory committee meeting. And two things on the agenda. One was what are we going to do with that building on 246? The other one was consideration, continued conversation with Harrison Merrill on their potential desired development plans for all this vacant land here. Out of those discussions, two recommendations came forth. First one was, after we considered all the options for the building on 246, the option that looked very viable at this point was to renovate that building, make some changes internally to accommodate the city hall folks. Also combine that with a visitor center and make probably about half of the building, convert that into a community center, meeting room, function room. A lot of conversation around that, a lot of conversation on other options. This was the recommendation that was unanimously agreed on the committees. And just a couple other comments there. What that would enable us to do is a couple of things. With the meeting room there, we would have a place for council meetings, city court, other functions, city-related functions that could be rented out, etc. And then with the team vacating the current city hall, that will allow the police department to move into that area, expand their footprint, which they badly need, and then public works to expand over into the police department area, which is space that you guys need. There's a lot of other benefits to that. So the recommendation was that was something we should consider doing. The next step would be to get the plans revised. We have some initial renderings of the outside of the building and the inside of the building plans, to get those revised and then cost it out. See if this is going to be viable and funding opportunities. So that was the first outcome. The second discussion was around Harrison Merrill development. We've had that conversation going on now for 2 years. They have moved a little off of what they originally wanted to do, a little bit more towards what we would like to do as a city that we thought would be more accretive to our great community. And the suggestion from Harrison was to have a joint planning session. So they get their planners together with some of our folks here so that we can then determine, are we going to be able to get to a point where a master plan is agreeable for both parties? And at that point, if it is, and we reach that consensus, then that then flows into a scope for a feasibility study. And the next step after that would be then to engage that company to do a feasibility study to determine the viability of that master plan. So very, very early on in the conversations, but making some baby steps forward. The goal, obviously, is to make sure that whatever we're doing there accomplishes two things. One, protects the residential golf course community that we have here and not disrupt it. Second part of that is to get to a more critical mass on single family and condominiums and what other element that we do increases our tax base, which then allows us to continue to overcome the increasing costs of providing city services at the same time may have the potential lowering millage rates. So that's where we are. That's the update. And the recommendation there to the mayor was set a meeting with, get the joint planning session going to determine if we can get to some middle ground there that works for both of us. Since then, I have reached out to Harrison Merrill, waiting for his return recommendation as to a date. So that's where we are.
Thank you, Bill. I don't see Bob O'Keefe online. They did have a marketing meeting in December. They summarized the workings of the marketing committee, including the budget report, which showed that they had $3,000 left in their budget from 2021. Also, Bob reported that he had fulfilled his 2-year term that he promised to do, and so he was stepping down. And we thanked him for all his services. Let's move on to new business, which is to consider approval of the resolution to utilize the American Rescue Plan funds to provide premium pay to the city staff who have worked through the COVID-19 pandemic. Jason, would you just do a really quick summary? I know you did it in the workshop. If you could do it again in case we have new participants.
Yes, Madam Mayor, very quickly, one of the identified uses of the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds, is that cities and counties can use that to provide what is referred to as premium pay for working through the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, as discussed, this would be as a match for our non-public safety officials or employees, and it would be a one-time payment of $1,000 for each full-time employee, $500 for each part-time. And it's also something that various cities and counties, Reagan County, Clayton's doing it. And I'll leave it at that unless any other questions.
Do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
I make a motion that we approve the recommendation from the city manager.
Thank you, Ed. A second?
I second.
Thank you, Bruce. Any discussion among the council?
Jim has it.
Jason, I understood.
Jim, please speak up. I can't hear you.
Jason, I understood say that premium pay hasn't paid for the police department was coming from the state of Georgia.
Governor's office, yes, sir.
Okay, and are we pretty confident that that's going to arrive to make sure that $3 employees fairly?
I reached out to my contact with him yesterday, asking what the holdup is. This was submitted November 1st, and not to throw stones at the state, but we submitted everything they asked for. They reached out to us around the 1st of December, asking for revision. Did not really give us what I would consider adequate clarification of what needed to be revised. We made revisions to the best of our abilities. It's under review status now. Certainly, out of equitability, if this were to be passed, we could certainly not pay this out until the police get theirs. As brief or as this morning, I checked before the meeting, it's still in review status. But we have provided them with everything that they need. It's just I guess whoever has to do their part. But that money should be coming in very timely, and once it is in, we will make sure that it's paid out. And, I want to compliment the chief. He's done his part to try to make sure it's been received as well. But yeah, balls in their court.
For some reason it did not come in, would we be able to use other ARPA money that we have?
Absolutely, yeah. In the event of some, for whatever reason, yeah, yeah, out of fairness, yes, absolutely, yes.
So bottom line, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, that was my concern as well. Thank you.
I thought the money for what we're fixing to go to was already in the bank.
It is. What the question that arises is.
That's fine. I just want to clarify.
Any other comments, questions? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I think it's a great thing. All right, let's go to item 9, which is consider approval quote from the Smoky Mountain Dodge dealership to purchase one Dodge Durango SUV with the police package for the police department, which is $38,684. Do I hear a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jim. All right, any discussion? All right. I will call the
sorry.
question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bill.
I think it's important to recognize that this has been discussed in previous workshops, et cetera. Is that this is replacing the Subaru that has become a money pit. It's constantly out of service. It's costing us a lot of money. So I think at this point, it's, we've got to make sure that our police department has what they need. And secondly, we need to make sure that we're not throwing good money away here on a vehicle that isn't going to hold up. So I think this is a very positive step we need to do.
And also that we are getting our name in the pot so that possibly we can get this vehicle. Did you say about April?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I mean, I just want to, there's no guarantee we're going to get it. This is putting our name on the list, but I feel pretty confident that we will receive it. The dealership did get a small allocation, but for all intents and purposes, we would probably see it operational by May or June. By the time we get it in, get it equipped with all of the equipment that it needs to be had. So it will not be tomorrow or next week. It'll probably be early mid-year.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, I will call the question. All in favor of approving this quote for this Dodge Durango, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Let's move on to item number 10, which is to consider approval quote from Kubota of Franklin to purchase 2 Kubota RTVs with snowplow attachments for the road department and the water department. totaling almost $54,000. Jason, if you'll just review a little bit about what we discussed at the workshop for these two pieces of equipment.
Madam Mayor, these items were actually discussed and approved as capital expenditures for next year. Very briefly, we reached out to several Kubota vendors. Much like the police vehicle, we were pretty much given a delivery date of springtime. However, the Franklin Kubota has 2 units that they're anticipating to be in by the end of this year, extreme early 22 at the latest. And the price will actually be a little bit less because they've included sales tax, but these would be equipped with snow plows. And of course, there'll be other uses as well besides just snow plowing. There's numerous uses of these vehicles to be used for, but again, this is the request to get us on the list to try to buy them. They don't get snatched up by somebody else.
Okay, let me have, do I hear a motion to approve this quote from Kubota? All right, second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Bill.
I think it's important, we clarified this in the workshop for those who may not have attended. The primary focus of these two vehicles is to increase the efficiency of our Public Works Department, being able to use these instead of the big trucks, for instance, with some of the more some of the tasks that don't need a big truck. Also, for going around with the weed eaters or the leaf blowers, or responding to other calls or inspecting water systems, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So my understanding is that's the primary focus. The secondary thing is because these can be fitted with a detachable snowplow, that allows us to have some more capacity in the winter for some of those areas where we can't get a big truck into. And it would also increase the capacity and how fast we actually clear some of the areas. Is that correct? Yes.
I would think it would benefit the water department because they could get into areas that a truck couldn't get into and also bring their equipment with them.
All right. Well, that answers my question.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure that we're clear. It's not just for snow plowing. It's a secondary focus of these. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right, all in favor of considering approving the quote from Kubota signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, item 11 is to consider the approval of the quote from Liquid Engineering to have the city water tanks cleaned, inspected for $5,560. Jason, if you'll just briefly describe what that means.
Madam Mayor, they're a company out of Montana. They'll come in. They really have given us a pretty short window of time that they will be in. I don't know when that will be. Should be sometime between January and March, I'm thinking. So to not have to scramble to have a quick meeting because this does exceed the administrative spending threshold. We'd like to go ahead and just get the green light to move forward. But what will happen is when they do come in, they will clean. We have 7 tanks. They will clean the tanks, inspect the tanks. Any maintenance issues need to be addressed, they'll do that. And something that needs to be done, hasn't been done in the past few years, and it's overdue. And I just want to also just close by saying this was anticipated and it is something that was budgeted for the 22 budget. So I'll close there unless somebody asks any questions.
All right, let me go ahead and ask for a motion to approve this quote from Liquid Engineering. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Second?
Second.
Thank you. I think that was Bruce. Any discussion or questions? Okay, I'm looking on the chat line and I don't see anybody online that's asked anything. So let me go ahead and ask for all those in favor of approving this quote signify by saying aye. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, now we are on to the public forum and general comments. Do we have anybody in person or online with anything they wish to bring in front of the council?
Holly, I just want to make one quick comment regarding Sean Blanton's presentation.
Okay,
I believe at one of the meetings regarding the Flint Knob Spur Trail that would connect us to the Barton Trail and then on to the Appalachian Trail. I spoke with him last week. He says it's a busy time for him this year, but he is setting up meetings with the Barton Trail Conservancy, and there are other entities involved. And at some point, they're going to get a costing of what that's going to involve. He says it's about 1.75 mile trail that would have to be cut to make that connection. He says it's probably going to be about a two-year process, but as soon as he gets some costing, they'll reach out to us to see what avenues the city has to make that happen. And that's really all I have on that.
that sounds great, Bruce. I think that will be very advantageous for Sky Valley. We do have money in the budget for trail maintenance, do we not, Jason?
We do. It's not a lot of money, Madam Mayor. I think it's around $5,000 or $6,000, but we did earmark some funding with the anticipation that largely go into the Mud Creek Trail, but
Okay,
that's what
thank you, Jason. Possibly the council could do a bake sale or something.
I think Jim's volunteering for that right now.
Yeah, okay. Great.
Jim has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Jim's going to clarify on something I mentioned regarding the distance of the trail.
What we're talking about is not the existing trail that goes from the trailhead at the top of Knob Drive over to the Barton Trail. Or is it?
I'm not sure of the Flint Knob, and I wasn't privy to that presentation, but all I can tell you is what Sean mentioned, it's 1.75 miles. And one question I had, is that all Sky Valley property, or does that get into other areas outside Sky Valley?
I think we need to clarify what the request was for, though. I understood that they wanted us to maybe do some something in the area at the trailhead for parking and so forth, but not necessarily doing things on the trail. I think the chief may have.
They're doing that trail maintenance anyway, but they want to connect our trailhead to that to give access, because the road and access trail over on Kelsey Mountain is so bad. There's no parking or anything, that they would like to utilize Sky Valley area as kind of like an access point. Plus it will connect us to that network of trails, which is on federal land. But the little trailhead is on private property of Sky Valley, well, of the Sky Valley resident.
So that's the part that we would, so the 1.7 miles is not Sky Valley.
There's not 1.7 miles of Sky, no, because if you've been to the trailhead, you walk up, as soon as you walk off of it, you're on federal property. Yeah, that's national.
So
forest.
Sky Valley's part of it would be just the
The way I
trail.
understood his presentation, yes, and he would access that network of trails.
Okay.
That they're gonna clean and improve anyway. The trailhead, when you go from our trailhead to Raymond Ball, it is straight up. And that's the area he was talking about doing some switchbacks to make it a little bit more easy to negotiate. Otherwise, if you're coming down, you might be on the butt. It's straight down. So,
Well, that clarifies for me also, because I was under the impression after talking with him that it was the 1 3/4 was something that Sky Valley was going to be involved, that the city, as far as funding, and from this conversation, I think only the trailhead and a portion of that is something that we're going to have to fund. And they will have to get grants or whatever for the balance of it.
The only way you can add any extra trail footage to this would be, if you remember, he talked about going on up Knob Drive, not the trailhead, going up to the end of Knob and wanting to maybe consider doing some access through there. Other than that, that's all the Sky Valley land we're talking about. Like Jim said, the rest of it's federal property.
So we need to find out who owns that land right in that area. And we may want to try to buy it from them or we're going to lease them so that we can build a better trailhead.
That was where he needed help from the city, trying to get access to that private property.
When I first came here, Jerry may know better because he was with the police department back then. When I first got here, Linda told me that we had an agreement with the landowner to use that. But I've never seen anything in writing. Do you know the details of that?
I don't, I just know. Yeah.
But I've never seen it in writing.
Because I think there are some possibilities to bring the trail into other parts of Sky Valley. That doesn't sound like that's part of the proposal, but that's
No,
not.
and I'm glad he clarified it, because my understanding was that that 1.7 miles is something we were going to have to receive grants or whatever at some point. So that clarifies it.
All right, Madam Mayor, I think we're ready to move on.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chief Estes, I did not realize you were there. I couldn't see you on the panoramic view. Did you have anything to report?
Yes, ma'am. Just one small item that I guess I need to come over here. Sorry, I'm right under a heating vent over there. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The only thing I would like to add is an accomplishment that we've made at the police department. You all remember, it was all over the news, the George Floyd incident, as we all know. Shortly after that, President Donald Trump issued an executive order called the Safe Communities in America Initiative. And what that did was that challenged your law enforcement agencies across the country to change their policy manuals in anything that in pretty much any type of use of force, but use of force was defined as any time we have to have any type of an encounter with the public. So we had to completely change our policy manual. But less than 10% of the agencies in the country and less than 7% in the state of Georgia have that. Well, I'm happy to tell you guys that our department has received our certification under that program. We've got accepted by the U.S. Department of Justice as being compliant. It was a lot of work. We had to change policies, send them, and you know how the red tape is, they kick them back. So after we did that dance for a little while, we got our compliance. We got certified by the Department of Justice as part of this program. And then the Georgia Chiefs of Police Association issued us our credentials for that. So we're happy to be that because it's only 7% of the agencies in the state have it. Less than 10% in the country have it. We have it. And Raven County Sheriff's Department has it. We have it. Other than that, no one else in our area has it. So it's something that we wanted to crow about a little bit because we achieved it and we were quite proud of that. That also enables us to be eligible for a pocketbook of money that he set aside for complying agencies. So that money will come available after the first of the year. And usually when we apply for these type of federal grants, we get kicked out because we're non-compliant, we're too small, and all of these things. We're not a certified accredited agencies. Well, we just nipped a lot of that in the bud, so to speak. So now we will at least be qualified to get our foot in the door so that we may start qualifying for some federal money to improve our department and our infrastructure of our department. So hopefully that will open up a few doors for us that we've never had open before. But just wanted to bring that to you and share that with you. Everybody was kind of happy that we got it. A lot of the guys weren't sure we would ever get it because we've never gotten anything like this before. Well, we have now.
Thanks for sharing. Great
Yes,
job.
Any
That's
questions?
wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
I just said, that's wonderful, Chief. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now back to the public forum. I think there's one comment, Jason, if you want to read the comment from Mr. Smalley. I believe that's all I see.
Just thanks to Roy and Joey Aiken for separately promptly notifying the Garden Club and SVCC members of a new positive case of COVID last Friday.
Thank you. Any other comments or concerns? With that being said, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all. Thank you all for attending. You all have a wonderful day, and do I hear a say aye to adjourn?
Aye.
All right, bye y'all. Talk to you later.
Hey, Holly,
Yeah,
why don't you send us some pictures of that grandson?
I think I'll have them published in the Sky Valley Times, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is the best looking and the most advanced baby in the world.
Without question.
Of course.
Of course. All right, bye y'all.
I figured that.